Hey, it's your girl Nate coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nate the podcast. Happy Thursday to everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hope your week has been amazing. I picked up this little trend of coming every other week. I don't know. It's working for me. I'm trying to remain present. So here I am. I know I missed you guys last week, but I am back. Got a great show lined up for you guys. I've been trying to get somebody to come on and do this particular topic for a little minute now. And I finally found somebody right up under your nose. They say when you're looking for something, that's saying if it was a snake, it would have bite you. So I probably could have had this taken care of because I've known this young lady for quite some time. But I guess I just wasn't aware that she was, into these types of things. But yeah, so, if I had to give tonight's conversation a title, I would call it Abracadabra. And we're going to talk all about why that is, what I'm talking about. We're going to tap into something a little different tonight. A little outside of my normal. But this conversation was brought to me a couple of different times by a couple of different people in a couple of different settings. So we're going to get into all of that tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get my guest for the evening on. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. And then we're going to get into it. Hey!
Hello, everyone.
How are you this evening, ma'am?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. Cannot complain. So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. I know I put Ashley here on the
well, that's fine.
Wasn't sure if that's what you wanted people to call you. That's what I know you as, aka little sis. But I'm gonna give you the chance right now to let us know what we're referring to you to as tonight, and I'll make sure that I do that.
Yes, my name is Tay Ashley. My real name is Janae Ashley, and yes, my last name is Ashley, so that's what people tend to go by. It's easier to remember. And well, yes, I am a sight medium. I haven't really been open with it, so I know in your introduction, you did mention you didn't have like these type of conversations with me because I wasn't kind of open to it. And then as I became more and more comfortable with opening up, that's what I tend to do and how I went along with it. So a lot of people still don't know, trust me.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we're gonna talk about it tonight. We definitely gonna talk about it tonight. So, before we get into all of that, though, something that I have kind of shied away from lately, and I don't even know why, but I'm gonna bring it back. I want to toast for the evening. I know you said that you're not drinking, but I'm gonna go ahead and get my little sip together real quick because I do want to look at me grabbing my water. That's not what I meant to grab. I like to give the toast of the evening to my guests. So let me know, what are we toasting to this evening? What are we cheersing? What's on your mind?
Oh, right now I'm cheering to prosperity and just peace. I've been just looking for peace all around me and finding it like it's been finding me. And it's a peaceful year.
Okay. All right, I am here for that. Cheers. I'm not shaking the water bottle.
Right, we'll take a shot for me.
I got you. All right, so next up, we have this segment that I like to call Excuse Me, Come Again. I'm going to ask you 4 random questions that you did not get to prepare for. But just answer them as they come, a little icebreaker, lighten the mood a little bit. All right, so question number 1. Where is a vacation destination that you want to go to that has more to it than just the visit? Like it could be a sentimental thing, or it could be a situation where you're looking for something to happen or something along those lines.
Oh, that's crazy. I was just talking about this with a friend. I would like to go to Great Britain. A lot of people don't know my mom's side is from the Cayman Islands, and they're ruled by, Queen Elizabeth. And my grandma, she did not play about Queen Elizabeth. And I have an aunt that's over there. My grandfather, he had kids over there. He had two. One passed away and one still living. So yes, I'm actually kind of in the works of planning a trip to go visit.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Great Britain. I don't think that's ever been on my list of places to visit, but
Right.
let me know how that is. All right, question number 2. Have you ever been called to have a conversation woman to woman, or have you ever done the calling to another woman to have a conversation woman to woman?
See, no, my past situation, maybe daddy, but he was very sneaky with it. Like I never had nobody approach me. I never had to like approach nobody. We was never like out in public, and Tallahassee kind of small, so he was kind of very sneaky with it. So I could say, yeah, I never ran into that type of situation as of yet, and God willing, I don't have to.
Right. Because that's not a conversation that nobody need to be having at this age, honey.
I wouldn't know what to say.
Some people are still having that conversation at this age, but
That's correct.
it's so funny that you say Tallahassee because, woo, woman to woman. I was a little firecracker back in the day, and
It's small. Everybody know everybody.
though, because I had a couple of women come to me woman to woman, and it was not a sense of me being upset with him or doing this whole situation. It literally was me telling her, okay, so he not finna deal with you for real. So what we doing? Like, you telling me because you want me to tell you to cut it off, or you want me to tell him to cut it off? Because either way, it's
some type of attention or some type of recognition, something. You never know.
I just look back on that now, and it's just kind of like the craziness is still happening, but I don't think people are actually like reaching out.
But the real question to me is, after you call, do you leave? Do you stay? Like, after you make that call to someone, woman to woman, what's your next move?
Right.
That's what I would never understand. Like, are you going to stay around?
Right. I'm going to pose that question to my listeners. If you've ever called somebody woman to woman, what was the next move? Was you doing it to let it be known that you was there? Are you trying to break that situation up? Was you trying to make her mad? Like, what?
Yeah, move in and take her place. What really be the reason?
What is the reason? That's a good question. All right. Question number 3. Have you ever had anyone come to you with any fetishes? Like, have you ever been somebody's fetish, and what was it?
Yes, I could have had crazy requests when it comes down to these men or boys or whatever you want to call them. But I would say my most craziest, but yet common, I heard it a lot, is a threesome. Like, for some odd reason, that be a lot of men's fantasy, and they just want you to do it. But when you try to flip it on the other end, it be like, hold on, well, you won't be so down if I want it. And they be like, oh, no. So, yeah, that's like the most common one. But, yeah, I done had a few.
It's a lot of guys that's into threesomes. And you right. When the shoe is on the other foot, they don't be so down to
not a girl that don't expect, but it is girls that are, and they do not be wanting to hear it at all. So it's like it's whatever floats your boat, but that is the most common one that men do fantasize about.
That's facts. All right, and then question number 4. Is there any situations in your life past that you feel like, you would go back and try again? Because, it's about to be spin the block spring. We talking about circle back summer, where people are starting to go back to old situations to see what's what. Is there any situation that in your mind, like, I could probably revisit that, maybe it might be something still there?
Oh, well, when you first started off the question, I wasn't really thinking like relationship wise. I was really thinking money wise. Like if I could go back and redo that
Okay.
series and make some, yeah, I was thinking that like taking a couple of more businesses serious. Like if I would have just kept it going, that's why I was going down. But as far as like relationship wise, I only had like two boyfriends, and that's my high school boyfriend and then the father of my boys. So it's like I wouldn't want to go back to none of them. Sorry. Like I lived and I learned a lot of lessons, and I wouldn't do it over any type of way. But to go back and rekindle something, no.
Said,
I'm
nah,
ready
she's
to
feeling
move
that.
forward.
She's feeling that. This conversation came up because it's so funny. Um, and they're probably watching. Shout out to you. I had a situation, transparency moment, story time for a second. And I'm gonna ask everybody that's listening, if you had the ability to spin a block, like why would you? Why or why not? So there was this one dude that I used to deal with in college right before I got with my ex-fiance. And we was cool. Like super cool. Everything was legit. Everything was good. There was no beef, nothing. It just moved into a situation where we just stopped talking. He actually lived in the same complex as I did, like right across the way. And one day I started talking to my ex, and I just kind of stopped talking to him. And then like a couple of weeks later, I started seeing a female over there, and we would see each other passing in the apartment complex, and we would speak or whatever. But there was never any conversation about what happened, why or why not. But if a lot of people who knew me at that time, they were just like, well, what happened? Because that was like solid. Fast forward, recently I just found out that he actually is a big fan of As Told by Nay. He has a copy of my book. He hit me up and was just like, I see you out here doing your thing. And in the back of my mind, I wanted to ask, like, what happened to this situation? Like, it was never no, like, you know what I'm saying? Move forward, and it was just like, all right, here we are. But I don't know if I would spin the block in the sense of pursuing something, but I definitely am very curious as to like where we dropped the ball at. I want to say on my end, I think my ex was just more pressure. Like he was like, nah, we finna be together. And it became a relationship. And the other dude was just kind of like, all right, well, she got something else going on, so I'm gonna let that be that. But I've thought about that, especially because I didn't realize that all these years later he'd be, you know what I'm saying, like still keeping up with me and whatever. But that's where that came from. And I had a couple of people kind of telling me like, nah, it's a couple of people I was spin the block with. So I'm like, is everybody on this wave? Is everybody?
Well, there's something in the universe that be making you feel that way, but that's a whole different topic.
All right, and with that being said, that is the last, come again, question, and we can go right into this conversation. So as I said earlier, for those of you that are just tuning in, we got Miss Tay here. I'm gonna call you Tay since you went ahead and said that. And she is going to talk with me a little bit about the spiritual realm. We're going to talk about some little magic. We're going to talk about the incense and the sage and the spells and all this stuff. A lot of women have been coming to me recently, just kind of want let's have a conversation about the reality of tapping into the spiritual realm. And so I definitely want to dive into that because me too, I'm curious. I want to know some things as well. So we're going to talk about it. So that's why I named tonight's conversation Abracadabra. Like the magic. All right, so boom, straight into it. Let me give me a little notes up, make sure I don't miss nothing.
Right. So I said, if I'm looking down, it's my phone.
So I guess kind of like right into it, because you mentioned in the beginning that this is not something that you have talked about a lot with people. Some people are still even finding out. Thank you for giving me the exclusive. This is her first meeting about it. Shout out to her. Right. But yeah, Can you explain, like, what does your spirituality look like? What does that mean for you? Like, how did you kind of come into this understanding of what this is? Could you introduce yourself as a psychic medium? Okay, yeah. So explain that to the people.
Well, I don't really like to say psychic because when people hear psychic, they just think, "Oh, tell me my future," and that's not what I do, baby. Don't come to me thinking I know your future and how it's gonna go down. No, but I feel like it means God trusted me and He had faith in me to really let go everything that I learned growing up as a child and everything that I was raised to believe, to really learn something new and start all over again. And being spiritual is really like taking God and removing human man, like men, meaning humans control religion, and being spiritual and opening up your spiritual journey is kind of like removing the third party out of the situation, which is man, humans, because you see all the things that go down in the church. Like, I was raised in the church. My mom Seventh Day Adventist, my dad baptism, sorry, but yeah, I was raised in the church, and it's like I always had questions. I always was one of those like, how did you even get that out of the Bible? And we reading the same thing. How did you even read those same words and that's what you translated from it? Like, I always ask questions. So I feel like the more and more I follow my intuition, the more things was open to me. And as far as like becoming a medium, I kind of was talking to spirits my whole life. I just never acknowledged it as that. I just thought these was my thoughts and I'm talking to myself. It wasn't until my recently, probably like over a little over a year ago, my cousin, she died, and we was real close cousins. So it's like when I was hearing her voice in my head, I knew as if they was not my thoughts. So that's what opened up to me realizing, like, dang, I'm talking to the dead type stuff. But that's what it came to be, and that's how I was able to gain control of it and it not have control over me, because everybody could have a portal or open up a portal to this spiritual realm. And you have to be careful because it's a thin line, and you have to have control over your situation, your spiritual gifts. You cannot let it have control over you. And that's when I started buckling down and really, taking classes and learning more about what this gift that I have. And yeah, I don't know. I got a lot to say about spirituality, but that's what it really buckles down to.
Okay. And as a young lady that is deeply rooted in just spirituality as a whole, like I grew up raised Christian, and I was in the church at a very young age. And I already knew, just from my understanding of my own walk, that there was something like present outside of just human. Like there was spirits, I would see things in the church, witness it with my own eyes that nobody could tell me that this ain't happened for real because I saw it. Or I've had, people come, prophetess and prophets that would speak things over people's lives and see it come to fruition, or people, give direction and watch it actually happen. Have people speak things over my life and saw, so my understanding that there was abilities for humans to kind of tap into something else, I knew that was real.
Right. And Christians, they would call it the Holy Spirit. But versus if it was a ritual done and the same thing what would happen in the church, they would have such a negative impact. But what really sets into it, a lot of things that the spiritual people, like the community, does is in the Bible versus incense and even astrology. Like, Some do overdo it. I do feel like I said, it's a thin line. Like, I'm not saying you're supposed to take God out of it and praise the universe. I'm saying God is the universe. He created the universe for a reason. The stars is there for a reason. The sun, the moon, everything lined up. The moon changes its shapes for a reason. If God wanted it to, it would be a full moon 24/7. Like, everything happens for a reason. And that's what a lot of people, I wouldn't even just say Christians, but a lot of people fail to realize, and a lot of people have a negative impact about.
Right. And I think for me, that's where the interest started because, like you said, I've always had a lot of questions about my spirituality and what this meant and the things that I was being taught in church. And I applaud my mother for always being that voice of reason to say, no, figure out what this means for you. Do your own research, have your own understanding of what God means, your own understanding of what your Christianity means, and figure out what that look like for you. Because she will always say, I can't go to heaven for you. I can't make it there. I can't live your life for you. So you got to figure out what this looks like for
you. Got to make your own choices.
Right. And as I've gotten older, I've definitely started to question even more because, I am deeply immersed in what is considered social culture. So I'm seeing the different trends. I'm seeing the different fads. I'm like researching the different things that people are talking about. Not only because of who I am as a person, I'm a curious person in general, but because of my line of work, like as a therapist, I have to stay abreast of like the different changes of what's happening around us, and then just in my community, just as a millennial, and just how we are kind of questioning everything as it is anyway. Not too long ago, this whole wave of spirituality versus religion came into play, which made me question some things. And then you saw all of these people started to take on this mindset of, I'm gonna burn incense and sage, and I'm gonna, put up my little crystals, and I just never really had a full understanding of what that meant. And then you started to hear a lot of people who were engulfed in religion start to say, oh, that's witchcraft, or y'all are denying, that God is real, or this and that. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between witches. Like, first of all, let me ask you this: is witch is a real thing?
Well, yeah, it's all depending on your vocabulary, but according to like Webster, witches are real. Like, it's a real thing, and like I said, that's why I say it's a thin line, because all these tools that you use, such as incense and sage and crystals, like I have a bag full of crystals, like all that is tools for you to unlock your higher power within. Like, you could call it God, you could call it a higher power, you could call it whatever you want. I call it God because how I was raised. I call him God, her, however you like to look at it. But God will place a light in you and your higher self in you. Everyone, I wouldn't say everyone, but I want to say everyone have their own spiritual gifts. It's up to you whether you want to activate them and unlock them and allow God to trust you with your own different, unique spiritual gifts. So I would always say the tools could be made for both. You do have people that practice it for health reasons, and you have people who practice it for mental reasons, all types of stuff. Like, and then being raised by an island grandmother, you could hear it like within different cultures. Like, you just hear different superstitions, I guess you could call it. Like, if you want to get pregnant, it's certain herbs you could drink. If you pregnant and you don't want to have the baby, or you are pregnant and you want to keep the baby, it's certain herbs you need to stay away from. So it's like, I always look at it as this. A while back, I had 2 C-sections. When I had my C-sections, they gave me ibuprofens 800s, and they gave me Percocets 5s. I never liked the Percocets. I ended up giving them away. But the ibuprofens, I was addicted to it, and it was like, I was at Walmart and I just looked at the ibuprofen bottle and realized it was $200 per pill, and I just It was like, dang, I take the 800s. Like when I got a headache, I'm gonna pop an 800. That's how bad I was taking them. So that's what made me realize, okay, I'm taking 4 pills just because of a headache. Like I don't need this. And I slowly stepped back from taking medicine and wanted to find out what people use when medicine didn't exist, like before medicine even became about, before the labs, before the pills, before the, like, they use herbalists, like some people call them witch doctors. It's like every culture from Spanish to European to African America, they all have their own saying of what they call these voodoo ladies, whatever. And it's all about how you use it. It's not always use of bad. It's about your intentions. And if you said something with prayer intention, it's always of God. It's like praying. If you pray and you pray negative things and your intentions is not good when you're praying, you can't possibly think you're praying to God. Like the devil hear you, Lucifer, whoever you want to call him, hear you just as well as God hear you. So you can never think you're doing a spell or doing a ritual and it's negative and think it's of God. It's not of God. And just because you have these tools that God give you and bless you with and the knowledge that you have, don't mean you need to take it of bad. And that's how voodoo come about. And it's other things that's like, voodoo is not all bad. It's all types of documentaries. It's just that's how voodoo became that negative name, that negative impact. When people hear voodoo, they think so negative. Not saying I practice voodoo, because I honestly don't practice nothing. I just do a couple of money spells and some self-love jars and small things like that as far as me. But as far as the whole culture, spirituality, is not all bad. It just have a negative impact because people could take these same tools and use it for bad.
And I kind of like to, and that's a perfect lead-in, because as a spiritual person, I know a lot of people in our generation have denounced their understanding of what their Christianity means or whatever. And I just feel like it's a personal journey. I, for one, have not. And when people ask me, I will, openly say, yes, I'm Christian. But I feel like my understanding of Christianity is different than the way that it was taught to me growing up. Because for me, it's very personal. It's about my walk with God. It's about my understanding of who I am. And just like you said, there's light and there's dark in everything that we do. There are negative and positive influences that come from, everywhere. But when I pray to God. When I read the Bible, it is what I understand, the word of God. There's that understanding. But when people talk to me about their spirituality and how they speak to the ancestors, I feel like all of that stuff is within the same realm. Like if you speak to the ancestors, technically Jesus is an ancestor, because he was not here when I was here. So, and when we start to think about intuition or that feeling, our gut, I feel like we all have the ability to kind of tap into that spiritual realm and getting that direction and that guidance. But I do want to talk a little bit about just like how we put forth different things in our mind to kind of bring things to fruition. So I believe in magic. Okay. I believe that there are people out there that can perform rituals or do certain things and make some shit happen. Like I have seen it. And again, it kind of goes back to my mindset takes it to, I compare everything, just like where I've seen people in church be healed of different diseases and body, deformities and all these different things off of prayer and different rituals, fasting, whatever the case may be, oil, right? So all of this stuff makes sense to me because I've seen it play out. So for you, I heard you say that you do like love jars or self-love jars or things like that. Have you ever had anybody, or have you ever tried like any spells or like actually done any rituals? And not in a negative aspect, because I definitely just heard everything that you said in regards of doing things in love and trying to, be of God. But What is that any experience of yours?
Well, no, I feel like my ancestors and my spirit guides and my team, they kind of like introduced me to it before I have to like learn the hard way or play a part. So I always, like you said, have the intuition and know, and it's like in my head, it's a voice playing in my head telling me how it's gonna go. So as far as spells, like I was told that I'm very powerful, even down to I can use my blood, but I haven't felt nothing that deep. I always like, play things out how it go. Like I said, I have did things for money and abundance and prosperity, but and even love, like self-love, I'll do multiple things. Like I love cinnamon balls. Every time I mop my floors, I do a cinnamon ball before I mop my floors. So it's different things that I do love, but I just think it's like certain things I still tend to stay away from that's popular. Like people come to ask me about, like, even like honey jars when it come down to attracting a certain male type. Like I just seen a meme in this group, like Facebook groups. I'm in different Facebook groups when it comes down to spirituality. And I seen a meme that said Kim Kardashian and Kanye West is like a love spell or a honey jar spell gone wrong. And people don't realize like that plays a part. Like you can want this individual so bad to like you end up in a situation like that, or worse. Like I was introduced to stuff like that young. Like I said, my mom's side, being from the Cayman Islands, she always tell me stories. My grandmother always told me stories about different cultures and the type of spells that they'll do. So I tend to stay away from certain people, like even down to dating. I refuse to date certain cultures because I just grew up hearing stories, and it wasn't on trying to be on no judgmental, but it's just for my safety. Like I even know people that lost loved ones due to domestic violence. Like my cousin I was just talking about, she died through domestic violence. So it's like I always knew to stay away. The main thing that I would say, if you want to tap into it, the first thing to tap into is try to do a ritual for protection or a protection spell, because anything that you go after that will kind of flow. Like there's some people that's so deeply rooted. Like me, I wouldn't just even say I do all these spells too deeply be rooted. Like I pray, and my prayers like lead me to what I need to know and what I need to do. Like it's protection spells where things will bounce off of you. Like if somebody was to try to do a spell or a ritual negative on me, it will bounce off of me and reflect back on them. Because like I said, all attentions are not prayer, and I always lead things with prayer, attentions, and positivity, and that got me far in life, and it will continue to get me far in life. So as far as doing, I don't really tap into it. Like I know some salt rituals, and that's about protection. Like putting salt at my door. Like I done experienced different things. Like humans, demonic humans, face to face with me, demonic spiritual beings. Like I don't experience a lot of that growing up, to the point where I didn't know what it was. Growing up Christian, they always be like, "Oh, that's the devil. Just shake the devil off you. That's the devil. Everything's the devil." Okay, so I didn't know until I was an adult that I've been facing this stuff all my life, and all I know is to pray for protection. All I know is to do rituals for protection. So now that I am opening up my portal, that's been there all my life, now that I am having control of it, I do get introduced to things like my ancestors, spirit guides. They'll put it on a meme. Like I'll run across a meme. I'll be scrolling across Facebook. I see a book that just look interesting. The author name of the book is my dead cousin. So I'm like, okay, girl, you with me? I'm gonna buy the book. It's just little stuff like that, and it tends to help me in the long run.
And definitely want to move right into that. So again, I'm gonna reflect everything back to just my understanding of, So I love Tyler Henry. He is a medium that connects with. He got this show on Netflix called Life After Death, and he's done like live shows. He's been all on like East Hollywood doing different. It's really interesting and really, really good, but it just kind of reminds me of, again, growing up in church and having those very strong, spiritually connected people that can tap into the other side. But it gets a dark light when people start to talk about, contacting the dead, and it brings a lot of confusion. So in Christianity, you know how they say when you die, you go to heaven.
You're no longer don't know nothing. Yeah.
Right. Don't remember nothing. Your soul goes on. The body returns to the earth. And I've always had questions about this theory because there's been so many instances where people have saw someone that has passed on, or these ideals of like ghosts and different things like that. And I know somebody that's very, very close to me who I believe anything that comes out of this woman's mouth, who has said, I have seen people that have passed on, and I believe her. So when it comes to like your understanding and your interpretation of spirits and being able to tap into the things unseen, like how do you explain that, or how did you come to understand that just even within yourself?
Well, the more I did reading to myself, it's like they told me information. Of course, my like human matter. First thing, the way you was raised, you question the information, and then I am like brought upon the answers like throughout my daily life. Like as far as like. The dead don't know nothing. That's like, and how you just waiting till Jesus come back and all that. Like, I just don't have that conversation with certain people because it's like everything is not made for everybody's level. Like even down to my mom, like I won't even have that conversation with my mom because she was raised to know what she wants. God want her to stay at whatever level God want her to know, and I don't want to confuse her. I don't want to have no arguments. She gonna die hard the how she feel, and I just always be like, we'll have this conversation later. I just say we'll have this conversation later because I do know, God forbid, if something was to happen to her when she do go on to the spiritual realm, she will be more understanding. But from my understanding, the saying, an old soul, that's correct. Like babies come with an old soul because their soul been here multiple times. It's such things as past life regressions. Like your soul been on this earth for multiple times, whether people want to believe it or not. Like that you get chance after chance after chance. Like I don't know if you've seen the movie Soul, but the Disney movie Soul kind of do play a part of how the spiritual realm is, and movies will be more open to explaining the spiritual realm. But yeah, like if you really want to get into it and you really want to open to it, all you have to do is look up past life regressions and different past life videos. But you don't die, and from my understanding and my belief, you don't die and just sit and wait till God call you. Your soul is going to return. Now you might not return as Nay, and I might not return as Tay. You're going to have a different body and a different spiritual being and a different matter, but your soul still exists. Your soul is still here. Like that's why some people have the argument whether they're ancestors or whether they're spirit guides, because ancestors meaning your grandmother's grandmother, but was that your same ancestor the last past life you had? Like what if your past life you wasn't African American, your past life you wasn't male, your past life you wasn't female, like your past life you could have been a cat. I done seen some things where cats came back to them as their daughters, and dogs came back to them as their sons, and it's the same soul that's kind of reincarnated and coming back, and it's a lot, and people. I feel like I don't even have these conversations with everybody. I feel like God put into my life who He will allow me to grow and have these conversations with, and it's people who's been into my life for 10 plus years, and I come around them and I'm the normal Tay. Like, we don't sit and have these conversations because I know on my intuition and my soul who I'm wasting my time with and who's going to sit back and really understand what I'm talking about. Like, I grew to accept that it's different levels, and when people is not ready to understand and come at you with an open mind, it's not even worth having a conversation.
That's real though.
It is a lot.
It is, and perfect lead-in because I've always had a very strong intuition, right? And I dream about things that end up happening, or I get these different feelings and these different senses. And I have literally had that conversation with God and prayed about it to say, no, I'm not ready for you to be introducing nothing to my life that I have the ability to tap into, because I'm not there. But it's always been very interesting to me. I've always been drawn to the type of people that do have that connection. I've always, been very curious about different mindsets behind it. So I feel like it's definitely something that you're called, and somebody said in the comments, some people have the touch. Like, it really is a gift, and you have that calling to kind of tap into it when and if you're ready. I feel like there's some people who never tap into it because they're just never ready, and then there's other people that use their full potential.
And God will test you. I'm sorry, but I was saying God will really test you to see if you're ready. You will know when you're placed upon your test. Like, I have plenty of tests I know I failed. I'll be like, God, holler at me next time. Next test, I'm going to get it because that wasn't it. But I feel like you're going to know when you're ready to explore, and when it's still things out there that I have to learn, and it's still things I have to get deeper into. But I just know I have to be patient with myself because God's gonna know when I'm ready. It's not my timing, it's God's timing. Just even like me down to even figure out that I am a medium. I didn't figure I was a medium until I was 27, going on 28. Like, that was 2 years ago. I'm about to be 30 in the summer. So the fact that I've been doing this all my life, and I really could have been like tapped in at 21. I was beating myself up about it at first, but then I realized everything is like a learning process, and it's things I had to learn in order to even get to this level.
Right.
Yeah, everything about patience.
Okay. So I definitely want to take the conversation right there, because I have an aunt that is a prophetess, and I've had this conversation with her, like when she's prophesying to people, and it's like, okay, what does it feel like? What does it sound like? And she says for her, it literally is a voice. Like, she hears the voice of God, right? And then I spoke about Tyler Henry, who's a medium. For him, it's images. He can kind of like, meditate and go to his space, and then he sees stuff. And, it's like actual like pictures or people or situations that he's able to tell people about. So for you, when you're like, what is that process? Are you hearing a voice? Are you seeing something?
Actually, like, I've been having visions all my life. I just always call them daydreaming, even down to negative visions. And I used to really like be a teenager beating myself up, like, why am I visioning somebody getting shot? Why am I visioning this? Why am I visioning that? And then like a week will go by, and they'll call me and be like, yeah, bro, this just happened, and I had the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so that's why that was on my mind so heavy. And I always thought it was me. I always thought I was manifesting this negative stuff. But as I became older and I realized and got more control of it, I really was controlling it, because if I didn't think about it, envision it, and pray about it, and ask for protection about the situations, bad and good, it could have went a different route, and it could have like had a different outcome. And I didn't really know that as a child, and now as an adult, I really understand how powerful it could be. And some people run for their visions, and I always was the type to sit in mine because I just thought they was daydreams. And I don't know, it's kind of like a different vibe. Like it feels like you're dreaming, but you're awake. So I do have visions, and I do also hear a voice. Like I said, at first I thought it was my thoughts until they became my cousin voice. Then when they became my cousin voice, I knew it was like a conversation. I knew like this is really a conversation. But my cousin told me in the read it was no longer gonna be her voice. Like I was just gonna hear a voice. So now it's like I hear that voice it's like a goddess voice, or I will have a vision, or I will have a dream. Like it's different things. Like now I'm even kind of tapping into reading minds. And at first, you think it's gonna be one thing, and you're thinking like the Taraji P. Henderson movie. I can't think of the name, but when she was going around reading all the men's minds.
Oh yeah.
I cannot think of the name of the movie, but you think it's going to be like that, but it's really not. And the more and more you tap into your own thoughts and meditate and control your mind, the more you can recognize your thoughts, the thoughts of others, a vision, a voice. It's like incredible what the mind can do. And the only realize we only work really one half of our mind. Like we don't work 100% of our brain. So the more and more you practice your brain, and the more you control your mind and your thoughts, it's amazing what you can do.
Right. Okay. So when you're getting ready to do a reading, do you have to like tap into like how do you get things specifically for that person? If you're just randomly seeing things or hearing things, like how do you kind of focus in on this is the person that I'm talking to, this is the understanding that I need for this particular person?
See, it kind of came easy to me. I know some people, when I hear stories, they be telling me like different things they have to do. But mine's is easy. Like I could call upon your ancestors right now and bust out to do a reading. The only thing that I need is water. Like my body would get so dehydrated. So like it's times I almost fainted off of it because I thought I was able to like, and then I don't want to be disrespectful. So I do ask the ancestors certain things like that. Before I was with child, I would ask like, do you guys mind if I smoke? And they'll let me know. And like sometimes I could be shopping and I could feel the vibe. Like they might not say nothing, but I could just feel like, ooh, disrespectful. So I let them know like, okay, let me finish this out, then I'm gonna finish out your reading because I don't want to disrespect your ancestors or your spirit guides. So it's like I'm kind of tapped in where I could kind of do whatever. As long as I got my water, I could be driving, I could be different things. I just don't like to disrespect people's ancestors and spirit guides. So I do ask them. And most of the time, they want their full attention. They want me to sit down, make sure I have my water. They'll tell me. Like if I'm busy and I'm doing readings, I'll be like, okay, y'all, I'm sorry, but I have to wash these clothes and I'm multitask, wash these dishes but I'm not like the type that have to do a ritual or anything. If it's a negative reading, I will sage my body afterwards. I will meditate at the end of the day, ground myself to get me out of that realm and back to earth.
Mm-hmm.
And my soul back and my spirit back into this earthly body. So I will do certain things like that. Like if I feel overwhelmed, I will go to the beach and do different grounding methods. But other than that, I don't really have nothing certain that I have to do in order for me to do a reading. As long as I have my water, I'm pretty much good.
Okay. So do you use like when people, because I know you said you don't like to refer to yourself as a psychic, but what is the difference? Like, so is a psychic just kind of like tap into your mind, or like a medium or a tarot card reader? Like, what is the difference?
It's different forms. So like you said, tarot card readers, they like most tarot card readings are like either psychic or medium because they like to use that tool to really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like to have proof in a way, like, okay, I was just saying it, now boom, the card came out. Like most people like to do that. I really don't have tarot cards. Like I don't use them. I'm growing to learn them because the classes I do take require them in certain groups, and certain people just require and like tarot cards. So I'm growing to know them, but I never started off with tarot cards. But it's really all coming from, your spiritual realm, like your spiritual guiders. They're the one who's throwing out the cards, and you asking them, like, should I use this card? Should I not? Psychics really so much could tell your future, your fortune. Like, psychics could really tap into the pathway you're gonna choose. Versus me, like a medium, I so much is a communicator. Like, I tell you what they want you to know. Like, I'm the third party. They come through me. And there's some spirits that they not gonna feel comfortable going to a third party. Like, I'm man. I'm a third party. And if you was to get a reading and you was able to tap into your ability of talking to spirits, it's certain things that they won't be allowed to tell me to tell you, because it's not for my ear, it's not for another human to hear, it's only for you. So they will wait. Like, and that's another thing, they're not allowed to do anything God don't allow them to do. It's times I had readings and I was told, I want to tell you so much more, but I'm not allowed. Or I want to stay so much longer, but I have to go. Like, they're not allowed to do anything God don't allow them to do. And God knows whether or not you're going to make the right choice or the bad choice. He just put the faith in you to make the choice. Like, I hear people say, well, if God know bad was going to happen, why he allowed it to happen? Because he allowed you to make the choice. And you made the choice to go down that pathway to lead to that destruction. And that's why I so much play a part. I allow people, ancestors, and spirit guides to come through me to tell them a message to help them down the pathway they need to be down. But I can't tell you the choice you made. I could just tell you the choices that's placed upon you. And it's different types of things, like palm readers. That's allowed. That goes along with astrology and the way your stars and your planets was lined up, the time and the location of your birth. So it all plays a part of different things, different gifts, and the abilities you have, and what you're most so lean to. Like, I never got a palm reading done, but I do love my astrology chart. Like, I know all my planets, like my love planet, everything. So it's all about what you're into and what your intuition guides you to.
Okay. So I want to ask you something. You can definitely tell me no if you're not comfortable. Would you be willing to do a live reading?
Oh yes, I live for live readings, honey. Yes, I would love to. I have my water and all.
Okay. Oh, that's so funny. Me and my bestie be here because she just said should have had a live reading. That would have been dope. So
1 second, let me plug up because I would hate to die. That would be like so embarrassing. But yes, I'm so down for a live reading. I'm going to start doing more live readings on Facebook. So if you guys would love to see me more, you can tune into my Facebook. It's Vibes with Tay, but that's with the slash. So I'm gonna be sure to leave my link. I'm gonna come back to the video and leave all my links under it, because I do plan to go live more. And I'm getting more comfortable opening up and doing people readings and talking about what I have to talk about, what things I've been talking about behind closed doors. I'm ready to bring to my social media platforms.
All right, so let's do me a live reading. When people come to you for their readings, do they have to be like thinking about what they want you to tap into?
No, but I do pick up on it, but I'm not gonna lie, it's basically off your spirit guidance. Like, they take over.
Okay.
They be wanting to know. It's what they want you to know. Like, I be having. That's why my website now. Right now I'm currently booking through Facebook, but I'm building my website because I like for people to be able to choose what topic they would like to talk about, because there's some people that come to me for a reading in their mind. They be having their loved ones and their boyfriends and they want to know about that, but they spirit guys is talking about family issues. All different types of things. So it's like, Oh, I'm sorry. They ain't mentioned nothing about your little boo thing. But if they want to book a soul a soulmate reading or a twin flame reading, then that will be a 30-minute hour conversation just on your love life versus
Wow.
not to have more control over what I allow them to talk to you about versus a general reading. It's just like what first thing they come to my mind and say. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. I like to use your real name. Is that okay?
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
I call upon the ancestors and spirit guides with prayer intentions of Johnny. Did I pronounce it right? Okay, they say we here. They say how you doing?
Hey.
Okay. Oh, the first thing they popping up is saying is you've been doubting yourself. Like they want you to put that doubt behind. They want you to know that everything is lined up to always fall in your favor. They want you to really stop self-doubting and questioning. It's like not really so self-doubting, but questioning your abilities to do things like your goals and certain things you have planned for yourself in life. Just know, don't worry about timing. They saying like everything is God's timing. It's not your timing. They saying you stop questioning yourself. You got it. Everything gonna always fall into your favor, and you notice that. So after you done did a whole night of worrying and questioning, it fall into your favor. You be like, "Girl, you had this. Like, why you was even tripping? Like, you'll be giving yourself pep talks. Like, girl, you did all that tripping for nothing. It ain't even go nowhere near that way. Like." But they also saying that it's because how you was kind of raised. You was raised to realize reality. Like you're not really into this fantasy world because your parents and loved ones so busy worried about well how you gonna pay for this and who gonna like how that's gonna get covered and that's cost a lot of money and they don't do it to be negative. They say they do it because they're worried and they want what's best for you. So they always having you sit back and think about how this gonna get paid for and what this money gonna come from and F that they saying step out on faith. Tell whoever come at you that way, oh God gonna pay for that. I ain't even worried about that because God got that covered. God gonna handle that bill. He gonna send a check my way and that check gonna pay for that. Don't worry about that. Like they said, you just have to stop questioning it and speak more positive. Speak into it. Speak more positivity into it. And it's just like how you was raised. I was raised the same way, and it's me talking now. I was raised to know like this reality. Go to school, get your degree, work these people 9 to 5, wake your behind up in the morning, go to work, pick up your kids at school, cook at home, do it all over again tonight. On the weekend, maybe just on the weekend, you could chill and you could have you some fun. But Monday through Friday, you better be clocking in and making somebody's job. And that's just how a lot of us was raised. And they saying you have to put that behind you. You have to speak more positivity into your life, and everything's gonna fall into your favor. I'm gonna ask them, do they want to move forward or if they want to step on that more? They saying, they want you to speak more affirmations in your morning. Wake up and start saying all types of affirmations. I am beautiful. I am gonna have a good day. They say you can look up some, you can make up your own, but when you start your day, like you do just have small self-care in the morning as you brushing your teeth, as you washing your face, just look into the mirror and good morning, gorgeous. They said we is on our Mary J. Blige. Like, we is on our Mary J. Blige tip. Like, we waking up every morning and saying, good morning, gorgeous. Like, we is all about self-love. And they want you to know and understand that this time is for you. This is your time to live for you and do what makes you happy. Because everything you worrying about is going to fall into place. They saying it's just not on your timing. So right now you just gotta live in the moment and blow with the wind, honey. Blow with the wind. Take a day, take a trip, take a vacation. They saying, like blow in the wind. Do what you want to do. Do what Nay wants to do. What made Nay happy right now. They say it's gonna come time for that stressing because when all this stuff start falling into play, all the stuff you want to happen, all these businesses, you might feel like you done bit off too much. You might feel like you done asked for too much, but it's never too much. It's always gonna fall into your flavor. Like they saying, right now it's time to live in the moment, because when it comes time for everything to come, all these businesses I'm hearing like an entrepreneur, like all these businesses, when they start falling into play, then you're gonna have to plan for a vacation. Like right now they saying you could take it, but when all these businesses fall, you're gonna have to plan like a month ahead, 2 months ahead for a vacation, because you're gonna be that busy. But it's always gonna be good. Y'all want to move forward her finances or talk more about her finances? Take risks. They saying your parents. Ooh, sorry, but they saying your parents don't explain to your parents what goals you got going on, these business ideas you got going. Don't explain to the parents, because they gonna be counting your pockets. Like, you sure you can handle that? Like, oh, you don't know how much my check is. Hold on, now they saying yeah. You I'm sorry, but they saying yeah, these businesses, you got to take risks. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, and that's serious. Like, step out on faith. Like they saying, if I had tarot cards, I will show you the Fool's card, because the Fool's card literally is a card of a man about to walk off a cliff. He have a little a little stick with his bag attached to it, nothing but about 5 items in it, and he about to walk right off the cliff with a smile on his face, because he know that it's something that's going to be right there to catch him. It's something like he just walking out on faith, because he know it's a pillow and he ain't finna fall to his death. He's finna fall, and it's something that's gonna be right there to catch him. And that's what they want you to know. Every time you walk out on faith, every time you take that big leap of faith, every time you take that high risk, every time you gamble, there's going to be big rewards, they saying. So you have to be comfortable to know that and understand that God always gonna got you. You never gonna fall on your butt. And they saying if you do fall on your butt, you gonna have some.
Oh, what happened? Technical difficulties. Definitely did. It definitely did. Well, I don't know what happened, but that's crazy, because I'm always like in awe when I get anybody that talks to me, whether it is a prophecy or whatever, how clear and how much I can actually relate to what is being said. And that is a conversation that I literally just had with my mama. Mom, that message was for you, girl. That message was for you, girl, but for me too. That's crazy. But yeah, okay, I claim it, I receive it, I hear you, God. We're gonna take all of that and put a bow on it. And we're gonna go with it. But I mean, we over time anyway. Time flies when you're having fun. So there's that. I'm definitely gonna have to. Maybe I could set something up with her where she could come and maybe get like 1 or 2 people that would like to do a reading. We could do like 2 or 3 live readings on one of my shows and get that going. So yeah, abracadabra. For any of you that have been curious, maybe her phone died. She did say her phone died. But if any of you have been like curious about readings or like spirituality type of stuff, and like how you can tap into that, sis says she's gonna definitely come back and like drop her information in the comment section. So I know y'all here now live, but just double back a little later maybe and check her out, see what she got going on, so you can connect with her. Oh, she's back. I don't know what happened, but boom. Hey, girl.
Wow, bad. See how the devil trying to do you?
The devil trying to ruin my good news.
Just cut right off.
Trying to ruin my good news.
I don't even know. I have to realign everything.
But yeah, you definitely hit spot on to a lot of different things. And my girl in the comments was like, you hit the nail on the head. Because I've literally been having these same conversations with the people that are closest to me and my family members, just in regards to these different business ideas that I've got, that self-doubt that you like, I'm only one person, how I'm gonna handle all of this stuff, like maybe it's too much, maybe I'm thinking too big. But that's just confirmation that No. And I always tell people, like, I'm one of God's favorites. So I know that anything I set out to do is going to be blessed. It always has been. But there's always still that moment of, is this life?
Your own way. That's what they saying in my head. Stop being in your own way. Like, you're in your own way right now. So once you get that out the way, it's blessings upon blessings. And that all starts within the mind. Like, these days and days, we're starting to realize our mental health is important. That's down to even me controlling my thoughts of these people talking to me. It could be negative things if I didn't have control of it. So I feel like that's a lot of humans. It's just your human matter getting in the way of your spiritual matter. Once you let go of that self-doubts and all those negative and just speak more positive into your days, it's even down to like me getting a tire bus. In the past, I used to let that ruin my whole day. Ready to cuss anybody out, and now I just be like, oh, that's a blessing. God just stopped me from getting in a car accident, or God just stop something from even bad happening. God, it wasn't meant for God for me to go that direction. Like, thinking like that and speaking positive on your life like that could stop you from a lot of things, to like even going to a concert and getting shot up. Like, you could have been on your way to a concert and boom, now you have a car problem. And you like, I pay all these tickets, turn on the news, Instagram, and they shooting that. So you realize everything do happen for a reason, and you start speaking more positive on your day, because God always gonna make, like you said, your favorite by God. God always gonna make it the right time, the right day, the right moment. You're never gonna be at the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time. No, God's never gonna have you in that predicament.
Well, tell my ancestors to go ahead and where my husband at? Because I'm ready now. I've been doing a lot of playing over the last couple of years, but I'm ready, and I'm ready to start moving some things into place. And I feel like since they already told me it's my time, we can shine together.
They said, like you said, y'all said it at the same time. They said, girl, you was playing. You been playing. you some days you ready, some days you like, Heisman, stay away. They saying when you get it in your head and you feel like you done gave yourself enough self-love, you're gonna be ready to let somebody come love you, because right now you feel like it is a lot of people playing out there, so you ain't gonna waste your time, because you give yourself so much love that you don't want somebody to come and even soak up your energy. You don't even want you setting these standards and you letting people know your value. And the more and more you worship how valuable you are, the more and more you teaching these people around you how valuable you are, and the more and more you set your standards for God to come bless you with your man. Because if you would have settled, you probably would have been married by now.
Thanks.
But you would have settled, and you would have known in your spirit that I'm settling in life. So the more and more they saying you value yourself, the more and more God gonna know to bless you, because he gonna know you ain't about to settle for just anything. So yeah, they saying it's coming, it's gonna come too, and you gonna know it. And it's gonna come when you ready, not when you gonna play with it, they say. Yeah, I like your ancestors, baby. They gonna keep it real with
you. It's funny. Listen, because I be talking, and I really, and like I said, I feel like there's definitely a gift within here. I'm just not ready to embrace it yet. And I talk to God like that, like, Lord, all right now, we have these conversations, and I talk to him like I'm talking to you, and I put it out there in the atmosphere. So that's,
and I love people who do that, because I be like, listen, God know your heart. You ain't gotta come to him on no fake stuff. Like, oh,
dear Lord, no, I ain't doing that.
Come to him how he know you, because baby, everybody know God knows. Okay.
Facts.
If you don't want to vent to your friends, I always just vent to God.
Right. Well, that was beautiful. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you so much. So much. Somebody asked in the comments, how can we get a reading? So I definitely want you to go ahead and let people know where they can find you, how they can find you. I know you said you're gonna come back later and put it in the comments, but you could verbalize it right now, and then
Right now, yes, I have a Facebook page, Vibes with Tay, and that's Vibes with the S, and with it's like with the slash. It's not spelled out, but it is a Facebook page. You could go and like it. I am going to be doing live readings with free readings, but it will be done on live. So if you would like yours more personal, you can always hit me up in my DM or book a reading directly through Facebook. Right now, I'm working on my website. You can also follow my Instagram. It is VWT_555. So that's my new Instagram. I am going to be posting astrology. Like it's a full moon coming up. So I'm going to be letting you know what you could do this full moon with your signs. Like if you want to know your sun, everybody know their sun moon. Like I'm a Leo. What's your sign?
Virgo.
Virgo. So that is your sun, but you do also have a moon that might not be a Virgo. It might be a whole different sign. And then you do also have a rising. So I will be helping people learn more about their astrology chart, and I will be posting more astrology signs and how you could help through the new moon, full moon, and throughout the week. So you can follow me. I literally just made the page, so don't judge that it ain't got no followers, no posts, no nothing. But I will be uploading more astrology for your signs, and even down to love, like your Venus and different planets, and how I can help you with your money advice, and all based on your sign and your planets and how it lined up. So I will be posting more, and like I said, you can book me as of now on Facebook. That's Vibes with Tay, Tay. And I look forward to helping everybody. Like I do all types of readings down to even pregnancy, like people who's trying to conceive and want to know genders, like that's popular. I also do mediumship if anybody is confused. That's if somebody did cross over or passed over and you would like to get in contact with them. There are disclaimers, so sometimes they could not be ready to receive contact. They could still be in the process of transitioning. So it all depends on the person and the soul you're trying to connect. But we always will get deeper into that, like, on a personal level. If you would like to reach out, because I know I talk to my grandmothers often. And that's something people like to do. Some people, they stay away from me. Like I have cousins, they be like, oh, don't talk to me about that. Don't bring the people up in my house. That's what they be quick to say. I'll be like, they already there. I ain't gotta bring them. But yeah, so it all depends on what your intuition guides you to. I'm here to help.
That's what's up. Yes, this was great.
And I do thank you for having me. I've been excited all day. Like, it's really giving me the confirmation I need that I should be more open to what I'm learning and what I do know, and stop being so shy and holding it back, thinking what others will have to say or respond to. So I do
supposed to use it.
Right. And I really love the feedback. Like I've been getting so much good reviews. Like people like, oh, thank you for opening up. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Like it's just been a wonderful thing. And I'm always here to help our people, and especially help with healing process and mental health. Like I stated, like all that plays a part in the body, mind, and soul.
Thanks, because this was just confirmation for me, for real. So yes. I appreciate that. That's dope. That's what's up. All right. So there is that. It's been another great conversation on That Soul by Nay, the podcast. I'm going to definitely double back and make sure that you guys get her information in the comment section so you can reach out to her if you want to. I'm going to have to talk with her and get a situation. Maybe we could do like I'll bless 2 people with a live reading and set that up and do it on my show and figure it out.
So
Yeah. So again, thank you, Tay, for coming through. Thank everybody
Thank
that's tuned
you.
in, all the comments, all of that. Next week I will be back with another conversation on That's Told by Native Podcast. I'll see you guys there.
Thank you. Mwah.